Welcome back to the black market of Bulletphilia to 18.5. Since last time playing, I have installed the English patch, among other things. The English patch is a little bit buggy. It does show some bosses I have defeated as not defeated, as well as spoiling the names for some fourth market bosses we have not seen yet. Although I'm assuming that is just graphical errors, because if I play the game in Japanese, all those things still look like they should look. Also, as you might be able to tell, I have now a ton of funds, and I have also collected all the cards in stages 1 and 2. There are a lot of fun cards among these, and I'm sure we will be seeing all of those as we move on in the world. If you're wondering how I got this much money outside of just having to play these stages a lot of times to get all those cards, because you don't get a card every time you win. And like many other things in this game, it is very much random. The set I have been using for money collecting and essentially have been had on while farming is this one. I have Princess Kaguya's Secret Stash, which increases the amount of bullet money that drops. Our trusty Miracle Mallet, which turns bullets into money. Lily White, who appears as a boss and can be defeated for money. I usually just use her right at the beginning of the stage, beat her, and then never touch her again, because she gets harder every time you summon her, and she also makes it harder to survive the harder levels inside the stage. So she's really just here to give me a good head start on money at the beginning of the stage. Then there's the Fraudster's Rabbit's Foot. This is Tay's card, and it increases the amount of money you get from grazing because it increases your grazing range. And then there is the Freewheeling Severed Head, which I'm using either it or Nitori's Purse, because they're doing essentially the same thing. Nitori's Purse increases the amount of the size of your bullet money vacuum, while Sekibanki's head just flies around the screen and tries to collect all the money it can see. Personally, I prefer Sekibanki, but I have been using both of them on and off. I guess to demonstrate, I will be playing through stage 1 once more, just so you can see how this works out, and maybe we'll encounter some of the other cards that have unlocked since last time. So first things first, we summon Lily and then switch off of her right away, because the first stage usually does not give you lots of money, but now we already have almost 100. Or the first wave, I should say. And with this much money, we can already, in the first black market, buy quite a lot of stuff. Let's see, is there anything we haven't seen yet? Or that should need explanation? We have Hasty Detour of the Three Crossings, which is Komachi's card, which creates a vertical deletion line, or no, a horizontal deletion line of bullets. It's essentially the same as Kutaka's card, which does the same thing for a vertical line, but both of them are not very good. Then there's also Takene's card, which makes cards sell for cheaper in the shop. So if you're not actually looking for money, but just want to get as many cards as possible, then this is a good investment. Especially early on in the stage, or even as a starting card. The only negative side effect of Sekibanki over the Copper Purse is that Sekibanki moves the same speed as items that are falling. So if she is above an item, she will not be able to catch it before it leaves the bottom of the screen. Here we have Nimble Fabric, which is Sage's cape from Impossible Spell card. It makes you briefly invincible, but you cannot move while you use it. It does, however, recharge quite quickly. I personally find that it is not especially useful. Then we have the backdoor, which comes back from Unconnected Marketeers and still does the same thing, absorbing bullets that come at you from behind, as well as damaging anything that it touches. I'm not sure how useful it is for the bosses in this game yet, although it was highly broken previously. And then there is the Shanghai Doll, which is also returning and just flies like Sekibanki's head around the screen, except it aims for enemies and tries to beat them up. I'm going, however, with power and circle recharge. Also, it's the first run of the day, so I'm rusty. But also, this is still my least favorite wave in stage 1, because I absolutely hate how these bullets move. Absolutely. But I guess I showed off what I wanted to show off. So let's let's instead switch to the deck I want to use to move on. The first two cards are okay. I still want a double amount of bullet money, because that means we will be getting more choice in cards during stages, which is helpful in getting powerful enough to beat bosses. For the same reason, I'm also still using the Miracle Mallet. I have been using Sumireku's Anna cards as my active for a while, but I think it gives me too much of a deficit on how much money I have, and in the end how many cards I have to actually be powerful enough. So I'm still using the hammer. Maybe I will be switching it out later, back to either the Anna cards, or maybe an active that's even more fun to use or useful. Lily has to go, because for harder stages, even the first waves can be troublesome. So we are switching her out for Ferocious Comino. We've seen them a lot. They reduce the magic circle cooldown, and I really like having all three of them, which means having a 100% uptime after circle. So starting with one makes it easier to get to that. Next, the last card I have unlocked so far. Law of the Survival of the Fittest is Saki Kurokomo's ability, and it makes your shots bigger. It's essentially, I guess, the same it did in Unconnected Marketeers, but now it also has a better visual effect. It just makes you stronger, even if your power is low. You can also just start with 1 power, or with the wolf and 1 power. We might be doing that if we have trouble killing things. But I think it should normally be enough to have one of the two. And lastly, an interesting choice maybe, the Pebble Head. Kushikomeji's ability to prevent you from crashing into enemies. It's a very modest ability and not very useful at all, it says. But it is useful for me, because in stage 3 there is quite a few spirits that are spawning that I tend to run into, instead of running into their bullets. And they also return for stage 4. So Kushi is actually quite useful to me personally. Let's see if you can maybe defeat the 4th market today. The last time we have encountered Yomu Konpaku and got completely demolished by her. As you can see through spoilers thanks to the patch. There's also Sana and Sakuya here, as well as 2, I guess, unknown bosses. Although, considering who we are seeing already, we could maybe make some guesses as to who else could be here. But first, we need to actually reach the end of this stage. Which, most certainly, is not the easiest thing in the world. Thanks to the amounts of funds I have collected, we shouldn't be having any problem unlocking any cards as soon as we get them from the end of a stage. Also, I guess we are taking power. We also have Offensive Jeweled Pagoda, Shore's ability. It shoots 2 lasers diagonally to the left and right. Can be useful. It's probably a stronger version of Luna, I would say. Unless you want to shoot backwards. We're not picking Arya anymore. Is there anything else useful here? Maybe the rabbit's foot? Surely it can't hurt to have more money. And you can see the wolf spirit and power combination is even visually quite an upgrade to what we usually have. Well, this is towards getting 100% recharge. So let's go that way. Or reload is what it's called. And this is the stage I was talking about, where I keep running into spirits. Now I do not have to care about the spirits at all. I'm also completely ignoring the fairies, for what it's worth. Although things are getting quite a bit crowded with them around. Them and their bullets, more likely. But that went quite well. We do not have enough to get 100%. This I'm taking less now, because I'm using less equipment cards. Although I'm not sure if it upgrades the power of Wolf. Here is Kutaka's card. As I said, it creates a vertical line or area that deletes bullets. But the last line is very correct. Bit of a narrow path, don't you think? It doesn't really delete enough. Both of these don't really delete enough bullets. Then have of a half ghost is your move's ability returning just a familiar or option shooting for you. I think I'm gonna take the money. I'm done. I haven't encountered any lives this run, which is possibly a bit of a problem. The inner cards are definitely a safer option than the hammer, but they do essentially the same thing. I also have more fairies now. I have Star and Sunny unlocked now. While Luna shoots above and behind you, Star shoots to the sides, which could be useful, I guess, while Sunny shoots in a cross formation, so if you stand in the center of the screen, she essentially shoots to all the corners. And here's some lives, much appreciated lives. We're gonna take some of those. Who knows, we may be needing those. Boy, this is a lot. Sure helps not to have to think about the spirits themselves, because it essentially doubles the amount of bullets on screen in this pattern. That was stressful, to say the least. Oh hey, bumper crop of life. Gives you an extra life. It is essentially just another extra life. Cheaper now, because we have already bought extra lives. But it's also an extra life you can start with. I think we had it already last time. Anything else useful or interesting? No, don't think so. Well, we can get the Dragon's Path, which means the circle will stay longer on screen when we use it. And here is Sanae Kochia. I have not encountered her before, so I am scared. That was a lot of wasted money. And life. I see you want me to use my circle in useful ways now, and I'm not. Okay, these bosses are gonna be much harder to learn now. This is troublesome to say the least, considering how stressful the stages themselves are. Doremi is a very fun card. She just instantly ends the stage and gives you one of the prize cards. So that would be good to have, I guess. We're going with magic attack power, I guess. The choice I made. Power. Here's Sunny. Here's a UFO, which just is annoying and flies around you in a circle, absorbing bullets. It's essentially the same. I think the sprite for it was upgraded. It's always a hard choice between power and lives. Well, attempt succeeded. I got money for it, not actually a card. But I have gotten a card from it before, so it's a gamble. Hey, we've beaten stage 4 and didn't unlock stage 5. Sadness. I just dislike every combination with these ghosts coming from the side. There's just no way of making them not a pain. As you have seen earlier, these spinning yin-yangs can also be quite a pain in bad combinations, because they create quite a few bullets, and in very confusing angles, I would say. This is a decently slow pattern, I would say. Can still make it more dangerous by slowing it down there. Maybe we shouldn't gamble. Especially if we have 3 lives already. It looks decently good for us. Guess we're going huge again. Maybe it's good. Considering we have magic attack power, huge might actually be good. Because it means it will destroy more enemies. And might even reach the boss more easily. Can go to maximum power. Maximum size. Is there anything better to do? You aren't really telling me anything better. Let's also leave it on screen longer. I'm not even sure. Is this maximum size? It is pretty large. I'm super lucky. I almost dodged into the same bullet 3 times. Oh boy, power. I sure like me some power. Here is Dragon Pipe. It's not very useful too late into the stage. It's Sanyo Kamakusa's ability to gradually increase your stock of lives. For every 3 waves you clear, you get an extra life. There are no more 3 waves left. Sakuya also exists. I guess we're powering up right before the boss. That's not bad. It is Yomo again. Okay, she doesn't spawn bullets on her. How about her spell? Well, much less confusing than whatever Sanae was doing. Also, I'm glad we have lots of lives. Well, we defeated a stage 4 boss. I have essentially learned in my attempts to getting all the cards in stage 1 and 2 to not pick the boss card. Because the boss will always drop their card, but the other cards will be a gamble if you will ever see them again in a timely manner. So unless one boss card is especially something you want, always pick the other choice. Kiketsu Matriarch's Threat. And we have unlocked the Yokai Mountain and can now hold 6 initial cards. Getting more card slots definitely improves playability. Or improves how strong you are. Yes. Yachikicho's ability to make enemies produce extra money. Steal meager amounts of money from carries with a demeanor that's polite, yet also steals one's will to resist. What do you need when it's time to buy an ability card? What's the most important thing in one's life? Should know the answer. How is this different from Kaguya? That is the question. Kaguya increases the amount of bullet money produced. Oh, is one bullet money and the other regular money? Because in that case, Kiketsu is extra bullet money, extra money. In that case, Kiketsu is essentially useless with how much money I have already. So instead, what do we need the most? Possibly power. Power may be the most important thing to start with. Because now we have Wolf and Power. Look at those graphic errors. Now that we have beaten Yomu, Sakuya and Sanae also look as if they have been beaten. That's so weird. But the reason I think is that if you beat a top row boss, all the other top row bosses become visible or something normally. Prior they were invisible and supposed to be invisible or something. I don't know. Graphical errors are a mystery to me in how they are programmed. But we're not gonna take a look at stage 5 today. Instead, we're gonna try and see if we can't get to see a few more bosses here. Best case scenario, we will meet all the bosses of this stage. I think that's better than a life at this stage. Although we will also take a life. That's a pretty good early wave, I would say. And that's how to ruin it for everyone. I gotta say, Yomo was not that difficult. At least her spell was not. But I did panic quite a bit during it. Because I was trying different approaches. I think a yellow bullet looked an awful lot like money to me for a second there, and I was really close to collecting it. I don't know. I didn't feel so good about this. If I hadn't died, I don't think I would have felt so bad about it. I don't think the life profits from Kiketsu would have made too much of a difference.